some people think that in order to be a credible candidate, you need lots of money. I think if that's true, the whole democratic process is poorer because of that type of an attitude. I don't think it takes money to be a candidate. It takes ideas, it takes commitment, it takes a community of people who work on the campaign. It takes some creativity, maybe it takes some chutzpah, it takes commitment. Those are things that are important to run an election campaign. You don't need $1 million to do it. Now, there are two candidates, myself and Mr. Lassman, and I think it's interesting to compare the different ways that we're campaigning. Mr. Lassman has a fundraising dinner and he raises almost $1 million from the rich and powerful. We have grassroots campaigning where we're on the street talking to people about the issues and inviting them to join in. We're not going to the rich and powerful. We're going to the poorer people, the marginalized people in our society, the homeless people, the people concerned about the environment, the women who can't pay their rent, the kids who want safe playgrounds and safe streets to play in. We're going to those people and we're saying, get on board, join our campaign. And folks are coming on board. So I guess what I'm saying is we do need some money. I mean, to print leaflets and to pay the rent and posters and our website and all that stuff costs some money. But we're not going to wait until the money comes. We're out doing the campaign right now.
Where does tonight's event kick off and what's on the agenda?
Tonight's event kicks off at 8 p.m. at the corner of Richmond and York. So right downtown in the financial area, financial district. And then we're going on a 3-hour tour of the city. We're going all the way west to Roncesvalles. We're going down to Union Station. We're going east all the way to Coxwell. And we're meandering along the streetcar route and talking about the city and having some fun. So we're going to be hearing stories about what psychiatric survivors are dealing with in terms of cutbacks in government services. We're going to be hearing about the problems in Parkdale. We're going to be talking about the transit service and how it needs to be invested in for a healthy city. We're going to be talking about smog. We'll be talking about creating employment in Toronto. We'll be talking about growing our own food. We'll be talking about the campaign. So it's really an opportunity for us to bring people on board the campaign. And we're thinking actually of having the streetcar as on a more regular basis and running it as our campaign office. So we've got 3 other dates booked as well, and if people can't come tonight, be sure to get the schedule, because we'll be having many more of these events and having fun and talking politics and imagining how how we can get the city on track to sustainability.
Why are you hosting the party on a vintage streetcar? What was the inspiration behind it?
Well, that's a good question. The story of the streetcar in North America is a fascinating story, and I've been a student of this for many years. This is one of the great conspiracy stories that virtually nobody knows about, incredibly enough. But up until the 1940s in North America, there were streetcar systems in all the major cities on the continent, including in Havana in Cuba. The streetcar was the way that you got around. You moved masses of people around in an ecological, quick, comfortable, popular way. There were some companies that knew that if they wanted to sell their products, they'd have to get rid of the streetcar. I'm talking about General Motors, Standard Oil, and Firestone. And they realized that in order to sell cars and tires and gasoline, that people wouldn't get off the streetcar because they loved it so much. They would have to get rid of the streetcar so people wouldn't have an alternative. This is well documented. This is not some wild conspiracy story, paranoia that candidate Gomberg has dreamed up. It's well documented. And the only city in North America that's managed to hold on to its streetcar system virtually intact is Toronto. So we're celebrating the fact that this city is, one of the reasons this city is a great city is because it's got a streetcar system. And if we want to wrestle the smog problem to the ground and ensure that citizens have clean air, and that's not too much to ask for. To clean up the air, we're going to have to reinvest in the transit, in the TTC, and in the GO system.
What are the main issues in your campaign? What is it focusing on?
Well, I've already mentioned the smog crisis. We're talking about homelessness. And I should say about the homelessness crisis, when I go around, I've been talking to hundreds and hundreds of Torontonians over the last few weeks, and I say to them, what are the issues? What are the concerns? The main one that comes up over and over again is the homelessness situation. Torontonians get it. They don't like the fact. They don't want to see people living on the street in cardboard boxes, sleeping out on top of ventilation grates. I think people understand that there but for fortune, it could be me or you sleeping on the street. I mean, you lose your job, you know, you have a crisis in your family, in your relationship, and who knows? Each of us could be on the street next week. I think Torontonians get it that this crisis needs to be dealt with, and what I'm really turned on by is the meetings that I've had with the community groups that are working on solutions to the crisis. Now, here's the solution. Very simple. It's going to take some money. We're going to have to invest in affordable housing. And it's not going to take a lot of money. If we took 1% of the federal budget, 1% of the provincial budget, and 1% of the municipal budget and built affordable housing, there would be homes for everybody who's living on the street, affordable homes, and that would solve the problem. And I've worked with homelessness groups before, and it's clear to me that if you don't have a place to live, your life falls apart, really. You can't hold your life together if you don't have somewhere to call home. So this is a top priority for myself and for the campaign. So homelessness, we talked about smog a little bit, and the garbage situation, really the harebrained scheme. I mean, we're saying to people, we've got to stop Mel's garbage train. Mel's garbage train, if Mel thinks that he can get this train moving out of Toronto full of our garbage, it's going to be stopped by the Aboriginal people and the MPPs up north, and all the people up north who've made it very clear to us that that train is never going to get to Kirkland Lake. It will be derailed along the way, and there's no reason for us to go to war with the Northerners over garbage, because the solutions to the garbage problem are simple. All we have to do is compost our garbage on a large scale and generate methane gas out of it and use that for generating electricity, heating, and for cooling. Let's pause it right there for a minute.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
What should Toronto be doing with its garbage?
The garbage issue is really, I mean, the solution to the garbage problem is a change of mindset. If you took newspapers and aluminum cans and rotten grass clippings and throw it all in the garbage bag, that's garbage. Okay? But if you took your newspapers and put them aside, and you put your lawn clippings aside, and you put your aluminum cans aside, it's not garbage anymore. Those are resources, and you can sell them. You can do good things with them. You can earn some income. You can create employment. And really, the garbage problem is the wrong question asked. And the Adams mine is the wrong answer to the wrong question. So really what I'm saying is, in nature, garbage does not exist. And we need to learn how to mimic nature and to turn waste resources into resources that are used for other things. And if I had one thing that I could do with Toronto's so-called garbage, it's to put in place some good composting programs so that we created compost for fertilizing the soil rather than throwing this stuff into a landfill somewhere. And I will say that while I was on council in Edmonton, the city of Edmonton was at the same garbage crossroads that Toronto's at right now, which is making a choice. Do we build a new landfill, or do we go in a more ecological, sustainable, and creative direction? And the fact is that in 1993, thanks largely to my prodding, the city of Edmonton got onto the sustainable path, and now is composting or recycling 70% of the residential so-called garbage. And that's what Toronto needs to do, and could do, and actually would save money doing that.
So you believe it is possible to implement a comprehensive composting system in a city of this size?
Let me tell you something. The City of Toronto adopted about a month or two ago an environmental plan for the city. And it was adopted unanimously by all of council. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, they're coming up with this harebrained, unecological proposal for the garbage. They got to read their own report. They got to respect that they've decided that the City of Toronto should be a sustainable city in the future. And the plan is actually an excellent plan. But this is where the rubber meets the road. Are they going to take those lofty words in this beautiful report and turn it into action? Can the City of Toronto compost and recycle its wasted resources and turn them into valuable resources? Of course. How could they do it? We have some of the best minds in the world here thinking about that, and there are some amazing reports, particularly from AKA, Alan Canny Associates, who have done the analysis of how the City of Toronto could be composting its organic discarded material and turning it into methane gas, generating electricity with it, and heating and cooling buildings downtown with this so-called waste, and doing it at a cheaper rate, or at a cheaper cost, than shipping it up to the Adams mine in Kirkland Lake. So if it's cheaper, and if it's more ecological, and if it's better, why in the world are we thinking about shipping our garbage to Adams mine? And the only answer I can think of is that there are political interests at play here. And I'm just speculating. But there are political interests at play here who benefit by this stupid idea of dumping it up in Kirkland Lake. And citizens of Toronto are not impressed with this so-called solution, and certainly the Northerners aren't going to let it happen.
Just one more question. Have you been taking advantage of Mel Lastman's absence?
You know, it's an interesting question. We're running this campaign on the things that we believe in, and we're bringing those ideas forward, and we're talking about them. Mel Lastman can do his own campaign. I'm telling people this is what I stand for as a candidate. And Mel Lastman should say what he stands for. The reports in the media suggest that Mel Lastman is very, very interested in moose. He's not terribly interested in some of the crucial issues that our citizens are concerned about. I haven't spoken directly to Mr. Lastman about this, but I intend to.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Good questions.
Thank you.
Right on. Cops are watching us.